Welcome back to Everything All the Time. I'm Pat O'Brien along with Tony Boldy. If you've never heard the name Jim Tunney, you've never watched football, or you're 2 years old. Jim Tunney is probably one of the greatest referees ever on longevity alone. 31 years in the NFL. And 31 years, Jim?
Yes, sir. 31.
31 years. He's seen it all. In fact, trained the first black referee, African American, and a good friend, a loyal friend for many years. How are you, sir?
I'm doing fine, Pat. I'm just having a great time living here and still speaking to businesses and groups around the country and writing articles for a newspaper every week and just having a great time.
Now, how do we find your articles? I get them on an email, but give us the...
Yeah, it's www.tunneysideofsports.com.
Okay. It's like on the sunny side, but it's Tunney side.
Yeah, tunneysideofsports.com. That's what I've called it, on the Tunney side of sports, and take issues from the current issues from the world of sports and transform them into positive messages for better living.
Yeah, and
get something good out of even a bad story or an athlete that's gone wrong. You can get a positive story for other people.
Right, and your posts are great. Tony Boldy is here, and Tony's a big football fan.
Absolutely. I have a quick question for him.
Sure.
So, as a referee, do you have a favorite team? Are you allowed to watch the game when you're not
football
on the field? Football, yeah. Do you have a favorite team that you like to watch?
The first book I wrote was called Impartial Judgment. And that's the way it's just always been. I wanted to call the book Because I Don't Care Who Wins. I mean,
Right.
the publisher didn't like that. So, no, I've never had a favorite team. I've never had a favorite player. But, I started in the league in 1960 with
Bart Starr,
Johnny
sure.
Unitas, yeah, and some great players that I certainly respected and admired, but no one favored you. You just can't do that.
You can't do it.
You've got to be very impartial.
You have to put that away at the door. So you've been watching the Olympics. What are your thoughts?
Well, it's changed so much, Pat, and you and I were involved in the Special Olympics years ago at
Yes.
UCLA and in California. But the Olympics, to me, has always been professional, amateur athletes, not professional, amateur athletes competing against another athlete.
Right.
They're individuals competing against individuals. I'm not in favor of the medal count for the U.S. versus China or Russia or somebody else. It's always one-upsmanship that way. And now we've gone to professionals. Of course, we go back to people like Pat McCormick, who won the gold medal early on, or Sammy Lee. They were competing against Russian divers who were paid by the government
Yeah.
and all sent to special schools and special training and all that. Whereas Pat McCormick and Sammy Lee just had their own coaches and on their own time and did it all and for no money. Now all the athletes even our athletes are being paid somewhat for what they do. And I understand that the time has changed, and I wish we could just scrap the Olympics and start all over and go back to the amateurs, but I think the tube is out of the toothpaste right now.
Jim Tunney's our guest, referee emeritus of the National Football League. But, I mean, you kind of have to roll with it, right, Jim? Because
you do.
it's. I mean, these kids make, like Simone Biles, she's going to make a fortune in, if you have a personality and you could be an Olympian, you're going to make a fortune after the Olympics, right?
Sure. As did Gabby Douglas and Michael Phelps, no question about it. And even the athletes of days gone by, Richard Johnson was supported and did other things after he competed. And after he competed, that's fine. But to have professional, like our golfers that are down there, basketball players.
Those big babies, they wouldn't even show up because they're afraid of a mosquito.
Yeah, and of course they're making so much money now. I'm surprised at some of the basketball players in the NBA who are making millions of dollars are there. They're there for supporting their country because that's what they're asked to do, and if that's what they're asked to do, then they want to be good Americans and compete for the United States.
Right.
That's fine.
And Jim Tunney's our guest, and there is something to say about being an Olympian, about having that gold medal or bronze medal or silver medal. I mean, that's a big deal for athletes, as it is hosting. I've hosted 8 Olympics. That's a big deal for me.
No question. I believe that. If you are Olympic gold winner, that's terrific. It's kind of like winning the Heisman Trophy. Not all the best NFL players won the Heisman Trophy. But Heisman Trophy, that's a special event. That's a special award. And being an Olympian and even competing in the Olympics, and whether you medal or not, is a great honor. And I applaud the people for doing that. I just wish that we could keep it more amateur, but it's what it is, and we got to play what it is.
Those days are gone, Tony.
So do you see when these athletes start getting the press and the popularity that their game actually goes down or up, or do you notice that if they start to read their own press clippings?
Well, I hope they don't. I'm sure they do read their own press clippings, and sometimes it goes ahead. And we've seen good athletes from the Olympics and from even in professional sports. Once they get in there and get the money, they seem to change their thinking and change the gratitude that they had to get them there. And if they'll count their blessings like you and I do every day, and knowing that we have an opportunity to do something for someone else in radio or television or speaking or athletics or as a football official, that's what life is all about.
Right. And, I mean, you've refereed, been around the sport of football for a long time. I actually believe, like Joe Namath, he read his own clippings, he created his own clippings, but he was also a great player, and I think the great ones, I think they're allowed to do that. That was the joy of following Joe Namath.
It was. Joe was a special guy, and Broadway Joe, as they call him, Willie Joe Namath. And Joe has come back. I know Joe well, and we've done some speaking together. Joe's done a great thing for other people in the last number of years. There was a time in there that it was kind of wild for him.
Yeah.
But he's come out of that. He's come back, and he's a guy you'd like to be around. He's kind of a very humble guy now, and very shy in a lot of ways.
You know how I met Joe? He came up to me in the airport, and he goes, Pat O'Brien, you know how he talks. And I said, hello, Mr. Namath. Hello, Joe. How are you? He said, someone told me you'd be fun to play golf with. And that's how we met each other in the old-fashioned way. And Joe went through some tough times, and, I'm sober too, so, I mean, it does change your life. But Joe Namath, but I love the guys that actually love themselves. You know what I mean? When you're coaching,
Sure.
when you're refereeing football, the Bart Starrs of the world and the Dick Butkuses of the world, they loved to hit, they loved to pass, they loved to throw, they loved to play, and they knew they were good. And I love that about an athlete.
I got a story for you.
And Bart should probably would never have played in the NFL. He started today. He really wasn't that good coming out of Alabama, but he ran the team so well. And he's been, and I know Bart, and been with golf tournaments as you have with other people.
Yeah, sure.
With Bart is a very humble guy and very nice to be around. And I think to our friend, we go back to a number of years, Rafer Johnson. Rafer really never really changed. Rafer was always Rafer, just a wonderful guy. You love to have the dinner. You love to be around. Love to have next door to. He just kept a steady stream the whole time. And his brother Jimmy, who played for the 49ers. Jimmy is just kind of a nice guy on and off the field.
I see Rafer all the time, and so do you. The greatest posture in the world, by the way.
So I
Tony.
used to manage a bunch of restaurants in L.A. on Sunset Boulevard, and Marcus Allen was one of my customers. I didn't know who he was at the time. Obviously, I'm not into sports. And so he was dating a girl that I was dating a girl, and he had a girl, and they were friends. And so we went back to my house, and all these people were talking to him, and I'm like, who are you? Like, why do all these people say hi to you? And he just laughed and laughed. He's like, kid, you're playing, right? And I'm like, no, I really don't follow sports. And he and I bonded because I didn't know him as the famous Marcus Allen Pro Bowler, but he knew me, just as a real person, and he really respected that, and we became friends and still are friends. But every time I see him there at the Hall of Fame, I feel pretty stupid.
Yeah, I would say out loud, Marcus and I took a couple girls back to my apartment.
Oh, I don't mean it like that. It wasn't like that. It was simply after the bar.
Hey, Jim.
You just said it out. You just said it out loud.
Hey, Jim. Do you get excited for football season coming up in a couple of weeks?
I love it. I love it. It's getting ready to have the kickoff this weekend. Sorry about the Hall of Fame game. There's a glitch on the maintenance part of it, not the players or the administration part, but too bad. And I worked that Hall of Fame game a couple of times, so I know the feeling in Canton, Ohio is just superb.
It's a kickoff, yeah.
Yeah, when we were talking about moving, I said, don't ever move the Hall of Fame game out of Canton, Ohio. It's like the Green Bay Packers playing someplace else beside Lambeau Field. You can't do that.
Not going to happen.
You got to be there. And Canton is the best place for it. They're wonderful fans, wonderful crowd, wonderful town. They just support us so well.
I ran into Bob Kraft. We had dinner the other night at a restaurant, and he's yelling, "Free Tom! Free Tom Brady!" What did you think of that controversy?
It's a shame that it happened. I think Tom's a wonderful player and a wonderful guy, and I met Mr. Kraft, and he's a good man as well. And it just got out of hand, and I'm sorry that it happened. I wish it had been settled right away. And you know, we have footballs that are maybe underinflated or overinflated from time to time.
They all are. I mean, every quarterback does it. You don't have to agree. Yeah.
I thrown balls out of the game that were underinflated because they lost air because of whatever happened to it, and or they get dirty or wet or something. You get other footballs, but I'm sorry that happened because it's a black eye in the league as well as a player, and that we got let it get that far. But that's what happens sometimes. This whole society gets to be litigious and all the way,
right.
and everybody's got to sue everybody else. So
Jim Tunney, go find him at www.tunneysideofsports. Jim, always great to talk to you, my friend.
Pat, I'm glad you called. Thank you. Take care. Stay well, and
Bye.
call anytime.
So long.
Thank you, guys. You got a new fan here, R.C. Everbeck.
So long, everybody. Thanks for watching.